Anglo-Saxon democracy. It's a not official political term, but it's a name used to describe democratic systems of four countries: the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia. These countries have a lot in common because they share the English language and they have similar historical roots. Their political systems are based on liberal values such as freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. Even though these countries developed their own forms of government, they are connected by the same core ideas and traditions. Over time, each country created its own system, but their democratic principles remain similar. One important principle is a rule of law. This means that all people and all institutions must follow the law, and the law is applied fairly and equally to everyone. Another key tradition is individual liberties. So in these systems, countries protect basic freedoms such as freedom of speech, right to vote, right to assemble peacefully. Then a representative government is also very important. This legal system choose their leaders in elections, and these elected officials represent interests of the people. And finally, Anglo-Saxon democracies are based on common law. These legal systems depends on judicial decisions and traditions. The diverse head of state system and separation of powers. In the United States, the head of the state and the head of the government is the same person. So the country has an elected president who holds both roles. As a contrast, in the United Kingdom, in Australia and Canada, they have the king as a formal head of the state. In Canada and Australia, the king is represented by a governor general. There are also a difference how the power is divided. In the United States, there is a strong separation of powers. So the executive, legislative, and judicial branches are separate, and they control each other through checks and balances. However, the United Kingdom, Australia, and Canada follow the Westminster parliamentary system. So, in this system, there is an overlap between the executive and legislature because the government is formed from the parliament. The US system is based on a strict separation of powers. So, the president and the Congress are chosen independently. The president serves a fixed term and cannot be removed by the majority of legislature. In the same way, the president cannot dissolve the Congress. This system is designed to keep the branches of government separate and balanced. On the other hand, Westminster parliamentarism follows a fusion of powers. So, in this system, the executive and legislative branches are closely connected. The head of government is the prime minister, and the prime minister is the leader of a majority of a party or coalition in the House of Commons and must be a member of parliament. The government must keep the confidence of lower house to remain in power. If Parliament passes a vote of no confidence, the government must resign or call a new election. The Prime Minister usually has the power to ask for the dissolution of Parliament and to call new elections. policymaking and governance into systems. In the United States, the separation of powers means that the president and the Congress are controlled by different parties. And this often leads to political conflicts, which can slow down decision making and policy changes. Policymaking in the United States is often more personalized, and it's centered on individual president and their political agenda. So, party discipline is usually weaker in comparison with Westminster system. In contrast, Westminster parliamentarism usually allows faster and more efficient lawmaking. This is because the executive branch normally controls a majority in the legislature. The ruling party must stay united to remain in power. So, party discipline, we can say, is very strong. Policymaking is highly institutionalized and focused on political parties rather than individuals. So, party loyalty plays a key role in this system. All four countries developed from common law tradition. This means that law grows through real court cases and decisions in the past, not only on abstract ideas or theories. Because of this, the court is widely trusted, and legal system is seen as predictable and fair. People believe that the state cannot suddenly change rules overnight. And this creates a strong legal system where people feel protected by the law. In these countries, people used to organizing themselves. They form unions, churches, charities, and neighborhood groups. This can help people to work together to solve problems. And these social networks create trust in society. Because of this trust, politics remain stable even when governments change. People often get involved early and before problems become serious, which helps prevent democratic breakdown. Political culture is also very crucial, and there is a shared traditions of individual rights, free of speech, especially when there is too much power in one place. And people from these countries, they want to solve problems through institutions, not through violence. Adaptability is their superpower. These societies have observed a large wave of migration without losing political stability. Especially in Canada and Australia, multiculturalism is not just tolerated, but it's a part of national identity. Instead of resisting change, the political system adapts to it, and this flexibility helps a system to stay relevant over time. These countries faced with different major shocks, for example, Brexit, challenged the United Kingdom. The United States experienced extreme political polarization. And these systems do not avoid crises, they absorb them. Their political structures bend without breaking, and this is why these democracies continue to endure. These countries have different systems. They share liberal values, common law tradition, and this helps them to stay stable even during social, economic, political challenges. The US system and Westminster parliamentarism have shown the resilience in times of crisis.